Well, hello, hello. Let's see. Seems like Crypto Mikkel approves of the new thumbnail. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna try to change over a little bit to that. It was it's kind of like the recommended thing for people who have your face on camera. You know, I try to learn new things. I'm trying to evolve and adapt. I'm a I'm an old guy, but I'm not that old. Yeah, I can do a little changing. So, I guess serious. It's never serious here. If you're new here, we're never serious. We we try to have as much fun as possible. It depends on how many people show up and who wants to talk. Sometimes it gets that empty room feeling in here, and you're like, oh man, I know there's people here, but nobody's talking, and it gets a little weird. I'm super friendly. If you at least I am in most contexts. I'm a pretty friendly guy. I like to have a good time, especially when I'm doing something like this. We're just kind of goofing off. I'm usually here drinking coffee and painting stuff, so I'm getting all geetered out and having a good time with acrylics. So we're putting, I guess, what is that? One type of plastic on top of another. It's not that serious. And the idea here is we're just gonna have a good time. That's what we're gonna do. So we're working on our barbgaunt. That's this guy right here. This is his little gun. It's called a bio cannon, and it shoots like these living projectiles that bore inside of the people that it hits, or I guess it's not. Well, I mean, whatever target it bores into it, and but it's going to end up on his arm, similar to so. We kind of leaving it off while we're working on it a little bit. I decided I needed to come back in here and I want to darken up some of this because as it's set up, it didn't quite set up the way I wanted it. So I want to get a little bit of that darker, and then we're probably going to go ahead and come up with another coat of our regular crimson on the very highlights again, just kind of brushing that top end to get our blend going. So what we want is a pretty good little wash here. We want it to be almost clear when you kind of pull it out like that. Yeah. So it's kind of, oh, you can kind of see that in the camera. Oh, that's nice. The camera look is getting a whole lot better. But you can see how watery that is. It's pretty watery. And that's that's kind of what you want to do with your washes in general. I'm going to try to be pretty targeted with this because I really only need it in a certain few places. So I'm gonna put a little bit in there, and then I'm gonna pull a lot of this out. I've got a paper towel down here that I'm putting it on. I got a little too much that first round, but then that's okay. This is a recess, which is why I kind of wanted to go there first. I wasn't too worried about it. I didn't want to come around here with a bunch of the wash. It will not work out well for you. So we just want to get a little bit of wash. We're just kind of trying to darken in some of these areas and bring out those details for later on down the road. I said it didn't take a whole lot to do this, so kind of be careful a little bit. But you do have to make sure you've got some on there. There's a fine line, and it just takes a little bit of practice, guys. That's all it takes. I promise. Painting miniatures is super easy to get a decent looking effect. I mean, there's some guys out there they make it look like it's movie quality effects, and if you want that, that's a whole different kind of experience. It's a lot more work to get to those levels. Not that it's impossible. Anybody could do it if you wanted to practice. There's just a series of steps you follow, and it'll lead you to the conclusion. Sculpting on these is a lot more difficult, in my opinion. I have so much more respect for the sculptors. It's like even my weird little old miniatures where you're like, oh god, it looks so weird. you know, the guy who sculpted that, it was not an easy task. You know, today's ability for software to sculpt something is infinitely light years ahead than like this guy right here. You know, because I think this guy right here, this is a really old Mini, yeah? So he looks so different. But this guy was sculpting with, you know, cheap jeweler's tools and stuff like that, and it still looks all right. I mean, is it as outlandish and crazy as what this is? No. But, you know, technology changed. So, you know, that's a much more outlandish ability to print this. This is in plastic. That's in metal. But, you know, when this guy came out, you couldn't print plastic like this. It wasn't going to look like this. It looked more like Bobby over here. So, we love Bobby, though. He's good. I'm trying to destroy my whole setup. Anyway. Well, that little shelf over there was a bad idea. And now we know. And knowing's half the battle. Oh my gosh. It's definitely a Tuesday, troops. Everybody stay focused. Okay, so like I said, we're trying to get in here and just kind of get these edges, especially something like that where this is going to be a shadow underneath here. So we definitely want to get that darkened down more. We don't want it to be super bright on the bottom of it. Let that dry for just a second. I drink so much coffee, I definitely have to continue drinking water. And anybody who's a long time on the channel knows I'm always going to tell you to drink water and stand up about once an hour, hour and a half. Don't sit around for too long. It's bad for you. Put just a touch music on. That might be too loud. That's a little better. I don't like it when it's so loud it starts to get in my ear and I can't think about anything but the music. Music does that to me. It kind of like will suck me away, and then I'll get kind of caught up into the music. Well, I guess while we let that side dry just a little bit more, we're going to come over here. Let's do this side up real quick. And just get it done. And again, I'm trying to be super careful with this, but I do want to come around a lot of these edges, especially where I know there's going to be a shade. I know it's going to be darker. I'm going to make sure that gets taken care of. And like I said, this is a super, if you're not familiar with these paints, these are a little bit more of a professional artist style paints, like a canvas style paint I use. It's not like your standard hobby paints. You can do all these effects with those hobby paints. You can just buy them and they'll paint the same. They won't be quite as thick to start out as mine. Mine start out real thick. I prefer it that way, but that's not necessarily for everybody, you know. All your tools and all your equipment should always be what makes you the most comfortable. That's what's really the most important part. You know, I have a lot of people ask me about, you know, whenever I'm chatting with people about these sort of things and I'm showing off minis and yeah. And they're always like, oh, well, what do you do? How do you use it? And I'm like, well, you know, I use this. And they're like, oh, wow, that's different. And I'm like, yeah. And I don't always recommend things to everybody. You don't necessarily need to do it my way. I think the techniques still stand. And whatever your tools you use, you know, one guy might prefer one brand of hammer versus another brand of hammer just because they like the grip better. That's it. And it doesn't make anybody's way better or worse. It doesn't make anybody's art better or worse. It just makes it different. As long as the product comes out right, that's what's important. That's why I like to think that, you know, as long as I like what it looks like, it's good. It's perfect. It's the way it needs to be. Or if, you know, I'm painting or making a piece of art for a customer, then, you know, if they think it's great, then even if I'm like, oh God, it's awful, that doesn't actually matter what I think. If they liked it, it was what they wanted. I did the good job. So my personal opinion of the art may not necessarily be as important as the beholder of the art, the purchaser of the art. So there is a little bit of a interesting bit there. Heck yeah, that looks super cool. We're going to do that side bit. We'll detail that after we get it mounted back on there, but let's go ahead and jump back here. And we're going to do its little bits. Those things look like more of those little bubbles. We should try to get those done. It's a little bit of white. This is the same thing we did yesterday. Yeah, because they kind of keep coming down its back of its thing. Where's those inks? You know, I don't think I included these inks in the doobly-doo. I'll probably have to add them to the little dilly. The doobly-doo at the bottom. Alright, so, you know, I use a lot of these inks. I love these inks. They're shiny. We talked about these yesterday. Talk about it again real quick. So they're going to be shiny instead of a dull. You can see these are dull, but the bubbles that are yellowish are shiny still, like they're wet, and that's kind of what we wanted to do. So Joyce says, so where do I go to vote on polls? So this is an interesting deal. That's a good point. Thank you, Joyce. I appreciate you bringing that up. So there is a poll. It's on the community tabs. So like YouTube is interesting to navigate because it's kind of evolving in its social media aspect. And so there is a community tab on my page that will have all my posts. And sometimes those things will show up in your scroll on your phone too, in your feed. But I'm not a very popular channel, so I don't register in everybody's feeds yet. So if you want to vote in the poll, jump over into the community tab on my channel, and it'll pull up where the poll is, and you can vote in there. And we have, this is a great time to do that. Well, I'll keep shaking this. These things love to settle. There they go. I actually have them all ready today. I took pictures and everything. So we've got Illumina Rosera still. I'm still trying to get this guy on the roster to get him finished up. I want to get him done. He's a wow looking thing. Kind of an undead robot. He's exciting. We've also got a Yuan T, which was in the lead when last I checked. Yuan Ts are like snake people. They're this one's, I think, a pureblood, so he's like mostly snake, with just arms coming out of him. So it's super neat model though. This is by Artisan Guild, great company. I wish I still had money to keep their subscription, but I don't have a lot of subscriptions anymore. When the channel gets going big, we'll get those back, and I have so many minis now. I can't keep up with printing and painting them, so I'm kind of like taking a break, especially with all Warhammer rolling in. I haven't been able to really get on all my printer stuff anyway, so I canceled all my subscription, which is probably a smart idea when you're just picking up stuff that you don't necessarily need. But I do like supporting those people. So like you wanna, but you got to make decisions, and that's just how that goes. Anyway, so the other guy is this is a Kinku Wizard. Now this is an older metal piece. I think he's a Reaper brand, if I remember right. I put him on a basis of a 3D printed base, but this is a Kinku Wizard. He's cool. He's got a little, like, it's kind of hard to see when it's black like that, but the head is like a little imp's head that he's mounted on a stick. It's kind of funny. And then our fourth contender for this round is a Baroness, or a Canoness. This is a Sororitas. It's a Games Workshop product, and this one's all on the sprue. So we'd be watching me pull this one apart and make it. If it doesn't hit the, no problem. Thanks, Choice. I really appreciate you. She says thanks for those of you who aren't following the chat and just listening along. So anyway, he said she's pretty neat. She belongs to the Adeptus Sororitas, which is another Warhammer army. And this will be another piece I'm gonna probably paint up and sell. Just to start, I want to start getting it where selling pieces regularly, just to kind of start getting things out there. It's a slow go. I'm still kind of learning how a lot of this works, and so technology and me is not a good thing. So learning how to sell stuff on the internet is not always the best. I'm pretty good at buying things on the internet. I've been doing that for a long time, but learning how to how to do YouTube and how to sell things on the internet has been an interesting situation. I'm getting better at it. As a chef, I was pretty good at selling food, and I use the internet a little bit. I'm just kind of trying to take those things and apply it to this. There's definitely a learning curve, though. Which, I like that. I kind of like the challenges. I enjoy learning new things. Once you get to know me, you find I really like to try to do new things and to try to push my boundaries, and I like learning and just kind of who I am, We're going to just do a little bit of yellow on those guys. They're going to be kind of hard to get to. And then we'll start layering up the yellow on this side. Now, like I said, this is an ink. And it's an Indian ink in particular is the type of ink it is. So it'll be a lot shinier. It'll pick up the light, and it will look completely different texture-wise to the rest of it. The glossiness of it helps. See, I think that's supposed to be another little bubble right there. And if it's not, I'm gonna make it one because the little bubbles are super cool. And you want to put the white down first. It's going to help the color transition in a lot better. One of the things I like about that Winsor Newton titanium white is it dries super fast. So you're almost able to just kind of just count to 5, and as long as it's a single coat, it's probably done. Not every paint is like that. I think we've talked before about how different paints will dry differently. And they can dry differently from brand to brand because of what's being put in them. Alright, now we need several layers of this because we're going to keep building this up. And the very top layer, we're going to add that. Oh, it calls it bright red. God, it doesn't look like orange. It looks like vermilion, which is, I don't know. Vermilion's one of those fun ones. You could debate vermilion. A lot of people feel like vermilion is red. And to me, it's like it's not close enough to true red to be red. It's like it's orange red to me. I mean, red orange, it's like red orange. So, and that's fun. All right. So yeah, that ink's got a great little glow to it. Well, let's check this one back here real quick. Put a little bit more on that one, because this has got 4 in the back too, so that's why I kind of want to get 4 on the other side. Oh, and I guess we have to do this front piece too. Let's do it in the same thing. We can keep those colors all the same. Ooh, there's a flake of something there. Dried ink. Happens. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I always like the new. Oh, there's not enough white on there. That is the part without having this on the deal mounted. You kind of run into some trouble. Yeah, the yellow really pops, and then the orange, when it's all done, that orange has got this great little subtle changes to where it looks like it's bobbling up and down. And that's what we want to do next. So cap this one real quick. You want to cap these guys as you're going. You really do not want to leave them sitting out open. You accidentally knock one of those things over and your whole day is ruined. Be mad as a horny toad. So again, we're just going to put just a little bit of this orange ink on there, especially down around your edges, because we want it to kind of come up to the glow. If you feel like you got a little too much on there, ooh, I didn't mean to drop it like that. If you feel like you got too much on there and you want to change it, you know, you can always put a little bit more yellow in there, and you can kind of make some back and forth. Kind of just depends on what overall you want it to kind of look like. These back ones aren't gonna make as much a difference, so we just kind of want to get them going a little bit. You can always just blot a little bit with your finger too. I do that a lot. Probably shouldn't. But yeah, there. Just a little bit. All right. Yeah. Okay. Where'd it go? Where'd you come from? Where'd you go? Okay. Before we set this thing on here, we may actually want to finish that brain on that side. Looks like it's going to be hard to get to. So let's put this down for just a second. And let's go ahead, I guess that means we need to do this shell on this guy. And then mount the gun and finish any of it up. So we're coming back with that dioxazine purple. Just trying to get all these edges that might be lacking done. Any places where maybe I've made a mistake. Accidentally see, you can see where I've got a little bit of teal on my armor. Here comes Princess Tappy Toes. And there she goes. I don't know if the mic still picks her up, but man, her toes are loud. Tippy tappy, tippy tappy. It doesn't matter how much you trim her in or anything. She'll tap those toes. I think she likes it. She doesn't do it all the time either. It's only every now and again. It's pretty funny. This is a good time to go ahead, check around, make sure we got all the little nooks and crannies. Alright. I got a couple of little vents on some of these guys, so we'll come back. I'll probably drop like a little bit of white on that and then drop the magenta on it. That seems to be working to give us a better effect when it's in that solid purple. That Dioxazine is just so powerful. It's dark. It is a dark purple. which is I think why I like it for this base. It really helps you kind of cover up any place where maybe you kind of got a little out of control coming up onto the tops of this carapace. So we can just get a little bit of that purple in there, and it starts to just fade back down. By the time we're done, it's all back to way looking purple instead of red or yellow or whatever. Hello, Octavia. Holy moly. Oh, the ink again. I gotta close those things up a lot faster. You're gonna definitely cause me some problems. Hi, kidder. Hello. Hello. What? Okay. Okay. Goodness sakes. Well, I guess it's time for a little break. Does anybody else have cats? You like cats? She's such a sweetie when she's having her moments of anxiety. When she's not, she's kind of like the "don't touch me" cat. It's really funny. So she's like she's definitely the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde scenario. She's got like a couple weeks. She's so she'll be very, I don't know, she'll be very chill, and then there's sometimes where she's just like all up in your face and shit. So, okay, yep, down you go. Oh, see, because you stepped in red paint, and now I think I have red paint all over me. Oh my goodness. Hi. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I think she's getting red paint all over my shirt. I think you did. Yep, I think you did. Okay, down you go. Yep, that happened. Oh my gosh. Okay, so, alright, so get to this stuff quickly, guys. Golly. So, that was, oh man, cat. You're nuts. Oh no. That's funny. So, yep, oh, you're such a sweetheart, but I really liked it when this shirt didn't have a graphic design on it. Golly. Okay, back to work. Good Lord. Now there goes another shirt. What are you gonna do, right? Luckily, it's not one of my like really cool shirts. It's just one of the comfortable shirts. It's like, oh well, yeah, that's not good, but could be a lot worse. Make sure you got down in those crevices. Kind of like giving this whole thing a little bit of a second coat of this Dioxazine from its first. Just make sure our dark purple is set super dark before you start working on its layers. I can't believe the cat got me. That's so funny. I think that's my favorite part about live stuff, is that you really Like I could show if I were filming this and that happened, I could always, show it in the video. But then, there's always a little bit of editing. You take a little bit of the situation out. Maybe the context isn't there first, where you don't see, the dog came in first and then the cat showed up. It's like the dog was warning me, hey man, the cat's coming. She's gonna come in, man. She's gonna act crazy. She's definitely that cat where it's like, she's not being normal. Who knows what's gonna happen? And the dog is kind of the roommate around here that tells everybody what's going on, even though no one really listens to her. Kind of afraid of what they might be back there doing right now. Sounds like a lot of noise. All the way in the depths of the house. Looking great. Alright, I'm going to be super careful here. Do not disrupt your work. Deep breaths, bold strokes. There we go. No worries. No worries at all. Easy peasy. Just like that. I love that these guys have another plate over their eyes. So it's like horse blinders or something. So you don't really have eyes on this one. It's just there's another plate. The plate extends down where their eyes would be. So like these things have the eyes. It's right there. So when we put the eyes in, we'll put the eyes up there. So it's the one looking. It's pretty wild. Okay. Now, alright, so let's start working on the brain. I'm just highlighting the very edges, the very tip tops of it. Very, very, very carefully. Make sure your brush stays plenty wet. If you got to keep going back to the well, do that. Don't let it get dry. It'll mess up. And you have to go, if you have to go on a lower brush, get your lower brush out, This is our 4, so we're sitting right in the middle. Should have gone to that 5. These are, tight coils. It looks like we're okay. And I'm going to kind of just barely edge some of this so that it's going to look like it's glowing. We want a little bit of a glow effect, right? So just a little bit of an edge around it. Not much. Just the edges of the little cavity it's in. Because we don't want the glow too much. I don't want it to be like bright glowing. Alright, so from here we're going to get a little bit of a titanium white. And we're going to work some of that teal in. We're going to brighten that color up. Okay. Change the tone just slightly. And then we're going to do the same thing. Almost lighter this time. just on the very, very tops. Yep. And then, at the very end, we're going to do one more round of just titanium white. And you really barely want to touch it with this. And it'll fade down. Because the white fades a lot, but this part's important. It's going to make it help, or it'll help it get a little bit brighter looking. I even hit up a little bit of our, maybe too much there. And again, if you feel like you did anything just a little too much, then you can always come back. Change, you know, put a little more of the teal on and go restart the thing. There we go. Now it's kind of like electric blue. It's shining in the hole. I do think I want to bring that edge down. I think that's too bright. Hit it with that, some of that dioxazine. Maybe we just leave it alone. There we go. Turn it purple and let it be. Looks shiny enough down in there as it is. Yeah, looks good. And sometimes those effects, if they're too far down in there, pulling them out too far will make them look wrong. We still grab a little bit of this edge coming up, but I took it off the very, very tops of the edge, so it looks more like it's sitting in the pocket glowing. And if you look at things that are in military stuff, you don't have a lot of that stuff glow real bright. It's not like bling. So like I always wonder at things like plasma rifles and stuff like that, if they really are that shiny, because some folks draw them, like paint them super shiny, and the effect is so cool. It's very pretty, but I always wonder, like, yeah, is that really something that's supposed to be a perfectly developed organism? Is that what it would do? I don't know. Then again, the Tyranids just basically choke you out with numbers. And I'm also putting way too much into little bits of plastic that we play Army-Men with. Never forget that you're just a few steps away from it being a complete farce. Okay. Let's get this shoulder finished. So next we're going to take our Windsor violet, which is our other type of purple. I'm going to just do this little shoulder real quick and do this. I do this side. This is more trying to make sure we're layering up our purples. I'm not real worried about getting too much into cracks. I want that to stay kind of the diazonine. But this is going to start layering up all the rest of our stuff. We'll come back to that. Okay. Now I'm going to get this Payne's Gray wash kind of re-going. Oh, maybe not. We're going to let that dry for just a little bit longer. We'll go ahead and do our crimson on this inside of this gun. So trying to get it put on there. So this has all got to get done properly. Again, we're really just trying to catch the edges of all this, the highlights, if you will. Without disturbing our other paint, preferably. Preferably. We really want this crimson to be on the parts that you can really see it. You know, where the light would hit it, I should say. You can see all of it, but we want the light to hit it and it to burst into that crimson. And then shallow, and then as it shallows down, it shows off the other colors. The shades goes down. Just got one little tiny bit of like white poking out right there. Just a little bit of Payne's gray washed down on the inside. Hopefully take care of that. I'll just let that set up. That should be good to go. Alright, now I'm looking over here. Alright, we'll start washing at the bottom. And then by the time we get to the top, hopefully it'll all be ready to go. So again, we're going to put the Payne's gray, but we're really just trying to get the cracks. There's a few of these little slits here too that we want to address as we come through. And I'll do the legs and stuff later. I want to get this, I'm trying to get this gun mounted so we're not fiddling around with it. It's not good for the paint job when you do that. You're inevitably going to damage it. You're going to drop it or something's going to happen. And inevitably you're just going to damage it. So it's better to just try to get it up on there as fast as possible. And this wash can be super loose, guys. We're going to come back. We're going to add some more dry brushes. We're going to add some more washing. And there's a couple other things we're going to be coming up here doing. So don't stress it too much. Just make sure you're getting those crevices. We don't want any little bits of white accidentally, or gray, or whatever color we got underneath on your primer. You don't want any of that coming through. And we're also going to use this to really help bring out our shade and stuff like that. Things underneath here. We want that to be pretty shaded in. So use that Payne's gray for that too. All right. This is going to cover up his cheesy smile. Yeah, we'll be able to get to a smile, no problem. Okay. Alrighty. About time to use that dry brush. How much time? Oh yeah, sweet. We'll have this on there today. We'll be able to finish this up. Paint wise, be done tomorrow, and probably paint and base tomorrow. Be done with all the rest of it because we'll just have some little bit of details left to do and be ready to rock and roll. Exactly like we wanted to be. Alright, well, while that's drying, let's go ahead and we'll do these real quick. Just kind of keep right underneath those shells and in these crevices. Put that Payne's gray, and that's, you know, This blends better than using like a black on something like this. If you were to put a black on there, it would just it would completely take away the purple. This is like a really dark blue gray, and so it when it settles on there and it finishes drying, it doesn't dry black, it dries blue gray. Dark blue gray, but blue gray nonetheless. Okay, almost there. We'll get out our friend. I said, don't do this if your paint's still pretty fresh and pooling. But if you're trying to dry it just a small little place, or you want to make it look like it got splatter painted, this is really great. Like a splatter with blood. Put a little paint on there and it shoots it across the thing. Like, it's cool. It's fun. Plus, you get to play with air. Like, how fun is that? Alright. I'm a goofball, and I know it. I'm alright with it. Alright, so this is pale violet. Let's get a little bit of it off on my towel there. And right now, I just want to kind of get this little section here done on this side. Just going to be super careful. I don't want to disturb my work on my brain. I don't want to disturb my work on my little face hugger, whatever that thing is supposed to be. Targeting bug. I just pushed a little too hard there. And that happens sometimes. I'm getting better at that. Okay, so I'm slowly getting better into painting. I was a whole lot better before I quit painting years ago. Slowly catching myself back up. I'm definitely seeing a lot of improvement with this little channel vlog, whatever you want to call this. I like that it keeps me moving. And really enjoy that. That's the best part about having a little channel. It kind of keeps you going. Okay, so from there, the way this paint scheme works is now we're going to get a wash of this Windsor violet. If you haven't seen this already, do this again. So keep doing this same little technique over and over again. And this wash is our final wash to create this really deep, almost majestic purple top. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but you know, I don't actually think there is. I think my way has finally gotten to the point where it's the best for what it looks like, because you can't get it to look like this doing it another way. I tried doing it several of the other ways that I know how to do it, and one or two ways that I looked up. I was like, oh, well, it's not really doing the thing. So that's going to look wonderful. Alright, let's get that guy mounted on there. Get it on there. Alright. Now it's starting to look slick. I finished doing his arms, so we'll have to bring in our Naples yellow and do all these little detail bits next. But I think we're going to flip over here. We'll just do this other part of the shell on this side before we come down here and do his leg pieces. That other armor, you can't. I want to be able to do that with the dry brush anyway. But while we got the dry brush going, I think we're going to do that other side real quick. And we're going to, let's see, we're at 50 minutes. It is currently 150. So we got about 10 minutes. Got enough time to get this part done really quick. Might even be able to get over to the other thing we wanted to do. Putting that Payne's gray down. I'll have to make sure we check for any mistakes later on. But I think we've done a pretty dang good job today. Go ahead and get his head. Whew, that's a little scary. Whew, deep breaths, broad strokes. I should have done that before I put this on there, huh? Come on. And that's where I mess it up. So you know, throw it right in something. That's okay. Luckily, all that was dry. And that is why, folks, you make sure you dry your paints. Or let your paint dry in between rounds. Because that got it right back to normal. Whew, scary. And be quick. Don't wait around. Oh, man. Accidentally drop it in some paint. Make sure you get it out and out of the way quick. Alright, so there's all that. We'll add our wash to this side that's exposed, that's dry brushed up now. Bring it back down to that more royal purple. And that's a Windsor violet that's going on there now in a wash form. I make a lot of my own washes and stuff. I'll put a lot of water into that. I'm always changing these water cups out too, just to make sure my water's staying. You know, you get it too dark and it won't work. It'll turn it gray instead of the purple. Okay. There's a lot about learning control for your paint consistencies involved and the way I like to paint. Because I'm always changing the consistency of the paint itself. You know, sometimes I'll have to pull it off and start completely over again because it's not thick enough. I've watered it down too much, or you know, whatever. And I have to either pull it off the palette or add more of the original to it to get it thicker again. And then 5 minutes later, I'm thinning it back down to do another technique or whatever. And that's one of the things I think a lot of times you don't see on your main. You know, when people do tutorials, you know, me included, really. You do a regular tutorial, you don't show all those little things. And I think that's kind of where I want to fill a niche in with these live videos. Is just to kind of show okay, so this is we're thinning these paints here. We're doing it this, and this is we're doing this, and this we're doing this. Just kind of give it a different feel, I suppose. Maybe I'm just crazy. That's also distinctly possible. I hear you. Come here. Okay. Thank goodness we saved that guy. Alright, back on you go. Alright, and then tomorrow, all this will have been dried up. Give that little shoulder one more pass. Alright, so there we go. Tomorrow this will all be dried up, and we'll be moving on. We'll get these bits done and finish up any little details. We got this little guy down here. We got to do a little bit of some little work for some of these smaller places and some touch-ups, and we'll put the base on. And I really like the idea of putting them in the street like our Screamer Killer was. So I think we're going to do the old cork board down here and make it look like a road. Might put some stripes through it or something. Since we got 5 of them, maybe we might do it where they're kind of the stripes break in between them. When you set them together, you can see the whole stripe. That'd be fun. Who knows? Anyway, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much, everybody showed up. We had a whole bunch of people. We had 4 people like all day, which is cool for us. Like, I really appreciate that. When you can have like a full hour of 4 viewers, that's pretty fantastic, and I do really appreciate it. It makes me feel more excited when I see those counters kind of coming up. I had like 10 total views today, so that's pretty good. At least for this little channel. All right, so let's go one more time. We're going to talk about the poll. As I spill coffee, luckily not on any creatures. I just cleaned off my desk and now it's already cluttered again. It's just life. All right, so again, we got, before I start dropping things in the paint. All right, so Illuminor Xeris. I love this guy. Oh, no worries, Dave. We don't mind when you're late. You can call Dave late for a lot of things. Just don't ever call him late for dinner. So, and if you, Dave and I are very good friends. We've been friends for a long time. For anybody who listens to this and they're like, why is that guy giving this dude on the internet a hard time? Dave is like my brother. We've known each other forever and 5 days. So we kind of give each other crap. It's totally okay. I hate having to explain things like that. It seems weird, but it does seem super important. Dave's voting on the UNT. So this guy right here is Illuminor Xeris. He is a Necron. Let's see. UNT is right here. He's super cool. I love this guy. It's a great model. You know, white behind him to see him better. You know, at least his silhouette better. He's got a great pose. He's just open. Super cool. And really, really scary looking on the table. You put him down on a table to fight all your party members, and they're like, oh my god, what is that? And the little kinky wizard, this guy's fun. This is an older Reaper model, I believe. He's a metal piece. Kind of fun. We haven't done a metal yet, I don't think. I haven't done one in metal. They paint a little bit different, but not that much different. Definitely feel different in the hand. And then we have the Canon S, who, this is another 40k piece, really cool. She got little fleur-de-lis on her, little relic boxes. You know, I guess that's some sort of Crozius or something. Sword. I think I saw a plasma pistol somewhere. There it is. Old plasma pistol. So, anyway, those are on the poll. They're all on the community tab. If you get time and you feel like you want to go and contribute to making the decision, go over there and throw votes in. I find that stuff really fun. It's exciting for me to see where people are go. It's interesting right now. The UNT I think is winning, or at least it was. And like last time it was the Space Marine. So like we flip back and forth from fantasy to sci-fi, fantasy to sci-fi. So, and that's all super cool. I love it. Anyway, I am gonna go ahead and get us signed out of here, and I'm gonna get ready to go pick up my kiddos because it is Tuesday and it's the long crazy day for me. So I'm gonna prepare myself mentally to drive through the city, and ye shall walk through the valley of shadows, and I shall fear no evil. So anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. Really, really, really do appreciate it, and we will definitely see you tomorrow in the next one when we will be finishing up our barbgaunt. Take another quick look at him. We gotta finish these arms up, and then we'll do our touch-ups. Now that he's starting to dry out real nice for us, especially this side, it's starting to look really slick. You see his little glowing brain. So anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day, and stay safe out there. Talk to you later. Bye.